I got to talk about. All right, looks like we're live. Hey guys, welcome back for the our lunch presentation. Susan Fox is secretary of IAPA. She'll be speaking on the All of Us campaign. Before we get started there, I would like to remind you about the giveaway. There's a link below the presentation for the giveaway page. You can click on it, opens in a new tab. We have CME subscriptions from Board Vitals, Oakstone, Visual DX, it's a fantastic app, MD Calc, and then an Amazon Fire as well. So a lot of cool stuff there that you can get. And if you don't win, you can get it for a special discount as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Susan to talk about the All of Us campaign, and then the links will also be below the presentation. Over to you, Susan.
Hi, thanks, Jordan, and thanks for allowing me to talk about this cool program that the NIH has, and basically is trying to reach out to do more research on patients across the country. So I'm going to go over what this program is about, and just to really make you all aware of this effort. And hopefully, as we go through the year, I'll be able to give you more updates on the program. And if you have patients who are interested, or you yourself are interested in participating, I'll be able to give you that insight on this program. So it's called the All of Us Research Program, and it's sponsored by the National Institute of Health. So basically, this is a push for providing more precision medicine, as this is an emerging big topic in medicine that really is about treating patients not based on, it's trying to identify lifestyle, your biology, your environment, socioeconomic background, and trying to tailor therapy for you. This is a big shift in how care has been based over many years. And so as we move forward in medicine, and because of the diversity of our country, we're really trying to start to tailor medication to better fit the needs of each patient individually. So what does this look like in real life? Well, you're not going to give somebody a prescription eyeglass that is the same size fits all. So that's an example of precision medicine, where that eyeglass is fit to tailor your prescription needs. Insulin pumps, same thing. It's your individual need for your insulin. Blood transfusions and hearing aids are other examples. So each patient looks a little bit different, and we can tweak those needs based on what your needs are. So what is the cost of when medicine is imprecise? Well, this means that patients, it targets an average patient and not the individual. Sometimes when you take an average approach to patients, this can lead to delays in treatment. It can lead to errors. And so trying to be more precise will be better in the long run. And as a provider, we know that we base our clinical decisions on research. And when we don't have research that's inclusive of diverse populations, this can also skew how to treat a more diverse population, rather than just say, a middle-aged white man. And this can be difficult for providers as well, because medical records can be scattered in different places, and there isn't enough time to analyze everything for one patient. For researchers, it costs a lot of money in IT systems versus doing the research. Data being siloed, and there's different funding opportunities, which can really be barriers for people. And there's challenges in trying to get those large sample sizes. And then there's can be slow translation of that data into clinical knowledge. And so these are some things that the NIH is really trying to streamline moving forward so that funding can be provided in a better way to reach more people across our country. So this is an overview of the All of Us study. So this is Dr. Francis Collins. He is the head of this effort. And basically, this is a really historic moment in trying to do a longitudinal study in gathering data from 1 million people living in the US to help better understand the health needs of the people in our country, as well as improving health outcomes. And again, as I said earlier, this takes into account people's lifestyles, their socioeconomic background, what kind of environment they're living in, and the biology to uncover how to best provide precision medicine, and basically to provide individualized care to all people. So some of the questions that this data may help to answer is, how do we prevent chronic pain that affects greater than 100 million people across the country? How do we develop better pain medicines that aren't addictive? Better treatments for diabetes, because this is a big problem in our country. How do we stop or even slow dementia? And cancer is a huge area of research as well. And so trying to develop more targeted research in these areas, as well as many other areas of research, is really important. So what are the missions and the objectives? It's to really accelerate health research and breakthroughs in medicine by enabling individualized treatment and care for everybody. And so how do they want to do this? Well, they do want to have 1 million participants if they can, and they want this from, people from all walks of life, people of all colors, ethnic groups, and they want to do this over a longer period of time so that they can help to identify problems and how lifestyle and all of the other the demographics play into health. They want to make this the biggest and the richest biomedical database that's ever really been undertaken. And as a result of this, they want to then attract researchers to help do the research. And that's really a big thing in medicine, is that, we need this research to happen, and we need the people who are interested in doing it. And this will provide an accelerant to that research that people may be interested in pursuing. So the values of this, and I think it's really important. I have been doing research for the last 20 years and am involved in an NIH study right now with my patients in allergy. And it's really important that participation is open to all people. Participants are diverse because, as I said earlier, there are a lot of studies, and you'll see this in a few minutes, that sometimes there isn't much diversity in research. And so we really need that. The important thing is that participants are really made to feel like they're partners in this. They're not research subjects. They're not, a number or somebody that they look at as just a study participant, but this is a real partner in this process. They're really trying to gain people's trust through transparency. Participants in the study will have access to their information. This will be accessed broadly for research purposes. And the main big thing is that security and privacy are really paramount. And this is so important when you're doing clinical trials and research, that people know that their data and their health information, their demographics, it's protected. Because if they feel like there could be a breach at any time. Not to say that these things don't happen, but this is taken very, very seriously, and it's really emphasized with patients so that they don't feel like we're going to sell their data or put it out there to the public so that anyone can see their personal information. And hopefully they want this program to really be a positive catalyst for change in research. So again, this is really, the diversity piece is really something that is a huge focal point, because we don't really fully understand disease processes in all cultures. And so this is really something that we want all people, including historically underrepresented people in research, to feel comfortable in participating in. Again, as I said earlier, the participants are partners. They're not subjects. They are treated with utmost respect, and helping them link to the study and what kind of data we collect, the labs that are collected, what research is conducted, and then how the data gets back to them. So this transformational data access approach is that they want to have a level playing field for also a diverse group of researchers who will be able to access all types of users. It will start small, but it will grow over time. Again, the privacy factor is huge. The data will be centralized, and then it'll be in a tiered fashion, and they'll be able to access depending on the need and sort of this passport system of access. And with time, the project information will be made public, and it is auditable. So again, back to the privacy and security, is that this is really huge in research trials. They have built data warehouses that have the most advanced security. They are always doing rigorous security testing. The data is encrypted and direct identifiers are removed, so people know that their name won't be on something that can then link them to an address, so those identifiers are removed. Researchers must, hold a code of conduct before they can access any data. The patient's preferences to how much or how little they want to participate is respected. And then they're protected by a certificate of confidentiality. And then being committed to the sense of transparency in the data in event that there is a breach. So creating value and building trust. How do we do this? So we want people to know that this is an opportunity for them to learn something about their own health and getting data on themselves. Knowing that it's an opportunity to fight a disease and to help improve the health of future generations. This is huge, especially if, there's, say, a family who has Alzheimer's disease and they really have seen their family being affected by this. They might really want to know, well, what can I do to help so that my children and my grandchildren won't have to go through what my, aunts, uncles, grandparents had to go through. Ensuring that the community is included. I think it's very important that people need to feel included and understand why it's important for them to be included, and how this opportunity can really make a difference in their life and, again, generations to come if they participate. So in telling people why it's important to participate. So minorities make up about 30% of the U.S. population, and it's projected to rise to about 50% of the overall population. That said, minority enrollment in clinical trials is less than 10%. So you can see that the numbers don't really add up. So why participate? Well, the African American population is 13.4%, but only 5% participate in clinical trials nationwide. For the Hispanic population, they're at 17% of the US population, and only 7.6% participate in NIH clinical trial studies and 1% of clinical trials. Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander populations are about 5.6% of the population, and it really is one of the most understudied ethnic and racial groups in this country. So you can see that reaching out to these communities that really are, as we know, a part of our the makeup of our country, it's really important to understand disease in all of us and not just in some of us. So underrepresented people in research includes racial groups, ethnic groups, people of various ages, sex, male, females are often underrepresented, gender, orientation, income, education, geography. So maybe sometimes there is more access in a city versus rural areas, access to care and disability. So those are just some things when we think of underrepresented populations. And through the years, I mean, there's good reason why some people do not want to participate in clinical trials. You know, we have the Tuskegee Airmen who were exposed to syphilis, who didn't know that they were going to be exposed. We have in World War II, the Germans who did research on people in the concentration camps. We have various immigrants who were experimented on. And then Henrietta Lacks, where her cell line is still going on, and she did not realize that her, this cell line would be continuing after her passing. So there have been many abuses in clinical research across the years, and this has really led people to feel uncomfortable about people using their data and doing clinical trials and research. So as you can see, this is the All of Us Provider Network as of January of 2020. So it's a pretty diverse, group of organizations across the country. So providing building blocks to help enroll people in All of Us. You can see here that for anyone who's ever done clinical research, you may know that this really takes a village to do clinical trials. And when you're talking about a research project as big as this, there are many pieces that need to be in place in order to make this go successfully. So I'm not going to read through every piece of it, but you have the data in the research center, and Vanderbilt, usually there's a center who kind of oversees these. We have the people who do the biobanking to hold the 35 plus million samples that will be processed in the study. The Participant Technology Systems Center, so all the phone-based platforms and the web-based platforms that are needed. The genomics infrastructure, so how to genotype and who's going to do the sequencing of the biosamples, and then relay that to the participants. We have the Participant Center, so how do we enroll people properly and with the proper technology. Then we have all of the organizations that are involved in this to help, recruit patients across the country, and then the communications. And so it really takes a lot to put something together like this. And it's really coming from a wonderful group of organizations that know how to do this well. So here is the All of Us Consortium, and you can see here there is the Illinois Consortium with Northwestern, U of C, North Shore, Rush, and the University of Illinois at Chicago. And so as this network builds, you can see that if you're at one of these institutions, it may make it easier to help guide patients into this study. So enrolling All of Us. If somebody is interested in participating, they can go to the All of Us webpage, and they can look through the information and decide if it's something that they would like to participate in. And different pathways of enrollment would include people who want to just go to the website directly, as I showed in the previous slide, or for the various healthcare provider organizations that are involved. Say I work at Rush and a patient is interested in the study, I can have them, contact our people here to get enrolled, or they can go to the website directly and do that on their own. So this is just a basic overview of, how to get people involved. So what happens? Well, it's enrolling people who are 18 and older. They have to authorize consent, and so they do that through the website. They then can answer surveys, and so they can decide on what survey they'd like to answer. The physical measurements, so things like blood pressure, height, weight, decide if they want to provide biosamples. So this may include blood, saliva, urine. Stool is a big one too, to look at the microbiome. And sometimes they're asking people to wear, a Fitbit or have an app on their phone so that they can link this to the study for data analyses. So how will they get their information? Well, it depends on their individual health information, their data, the survey data. If they're going to share their electronic medical record and claims data, the research results, ongoing study updates, different aggregated results, scientific findings, as well as opportunities to be contacted for other research studies. So as of today, there are over 300,000 participants enrolled, and 242,000 have completed the initial steps. 80% of current people have self-identified as belonging to a historically underrepresented population, and nearly 400 active. There are 400 active enrollment clinics across the country. So this is what the browser would look like if somebody was to log in and want to participate. And this is some information for the research, how this might happen and what the screen may look like when you go to the All of Us website. So here's some more information on if you're interested in learning more about this project. You can go to these various sites. And I reached out to our partners because this has been a relatively new partnership that we were asked to participate in. And so I'm hoping to have more, if anyone has any questions about, how might you get a patient enrolled in this, I will have more information about that soon. So please feel free to reach out and ask any questions. It is, I think, a very interesting. I think it's really important. I think it's a very interesting study that is. I'm glad that it's happening. But as I said to our partners, I said we just have to make sure that we understand how to convey this to our patients properly, so that they know what they're getting involved in, and so. In that, I do think it's a very good effort by the NIH to be inclusive of the diversity of our country and the diseases that we see across our country. So thank you. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
All right. So I don't see any questions in the question box. I've got my my helper here with me right now, so it's lunchtime. I don't see questions, but thank you for the presentation. It looks like somebody said that Bianca Doherty says that she was involved in this for the past couple of years, and she recommends it. So thanks Bianca for the insight there. It looks like something we could all look into. We'll see you guys.
And I just wanted to say that there will be more coming on this, so just stay tuned for more information. And if you have questions, just feel free to reach out to me.
Sounds good. Well, we appreciate it. We will see everybody in the next session.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.